Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, I will be going over all of my highlights of birding in Kerry in autumn, which includes all of the rare and scarce species that I saw, and all of the lifers too. I started off the autumn by heading to Trebeg in the west of Kerry to see a laughing gull. Laughing gulls are usually found in North, Central and South America. This bird was the 7th record for County Kerry and 57th for Ireland. Just under 2 weeks later, I went to Blackrock Strand, where I saw this molting adult curlew sandpiper. This bird was the first of many for the autumn. There were also plenty of Mediterranean gulls present, including this ringed bird, which I later found out was from Germany. A few days later, I went back to Blackrock Strand to see a little stint, which actually ended up being 2 birds. This species is a scarce passage migrant to Ireland during autumn, and was a lifer for me at the time. On the 30th of August, I went to Carahan Strand after reports of a white-rumped sandpiper, and ended up seeing a long-tailed skua, a species that's usually seen migrating out at sea. After nice views of the long-tailed skua, I also managed to pick out the white-rumped sandpiper. White-rumped sandpipers are usually found in North and South America. However, some do turn up in Ireland every year. Now moving on to the ones that I haven't yet showcased on this channel. At the beginning of September, once again I went to Blackrock Strand, where I saw my first ruff of the autumn, and an adult yellow-legged gull. On the 6th of September, I went to a channel east of Carahan Strand, as 3 glossy ibis were reported there. Luckily, when I arrived, there was still 1 glossy ibis present. This was the first glossy ibis that I saw that was part of a large influx of this species in Ireland and the UK over the course of the autumn. More on that shortly. Only a few days later, 30 glossy ibis were reported in a field just south of Cockleshell Road. So of course I took the opportunity to go and see them. As I mentioned earlier, there has been a large influx of this species in Ireland and the UK over the autumn, with the largest total at 99 glossy ibis in Somerset, England. The cause of this influx is still unknown, but was most likely due to climate change, range expansion, or a successful breeding season. A week later, I went to a flooded field west of Ballyhaig, where 2 Wilson's phalaropes were reported. When I arrived, I was met with 2 glossy ibis and 2 ruff. Luckily, after a short wait, one of the Wilson's phalaropes flew in. I was delighted to get a glimpse of this species, as they are quite a rare sight in Ireland, and it was also a lifer. Later on that day, I went to Blackrock Strand to hopefully see a Sabin's gull that had been seen there. The first gull I did see was in fact not the Sabin's gull, but instead a juvenile little gull that had also been present for a while. This was the 2nd time I've seen this species, and my best views of one too. Not long after, the Sabin's gull made an appearance. These birds are usually seen in Ireland far out at sea on their migration from high Arctic tundra to tropical oceans off South America and Africa. So it was a privilege to get this close to one, and it was also a lifer. Also present at Black Rock Strand was a continuing white-rumped sandpiper. This is most likely the same bird that was at Carahan Strand a few weeks earlier. And of course, there was also plenty of curlew sandpipers too. A few days later, on the 20th of September, 2 American golden plovers were reported at Carahan Strand. Luckily, when I arrived, there was another birder present who already had eyes on one of the American golden plovers and helped me pick it out. This bird is a molting adult. There was also a juvenile present too, but unfortunately, I couldn't seem to find that one. However, I did track it down on a later visit. Also at Carahan Strand was a ruff and more curlew sandpipers. A brief trip to Black Rock Strand on the 24th of September resulted in another little stint. My third one of the autumn. Now back to Carahan Strand to try and track down the juvenile American golden plover that evaded me the last time. But before I could do so, this super male hen harrier came out of nowhere, which spooked the entire flock of golden plovers. Shortly after, the golden plovers did return, and I finally managed to pick out that juvenile American golden plover. On the 27th of September, I went to my local birding spot, Blennerville, to look for a great white egret that had been spotted there a few days prior. It wasn't at all difficult to find, as it stuck out like a sore thumb in the middle of the estuary. This is the second year in a row that I have seen one of these birds at Blennerville, and were also my best views of this species. There was also a spotted redshank present. This species is considered rare in Ireland. However, 1 or 2 of these birds overwinter in Blennerville each year. At the beginning of October, I went to Kerry Head, just north of Ballyhaig, for a small bit of sea watching. Throughout the sea watch, there were plenty of European storm petrels passing through, a lifer for me. Despite the dodgy footage, you can just about make out that this is a grey phalarope, another lifer. Other highlights included a Sabin's gull and an Arctic skua. Just under a week later, I went to Dunquin in the west of Kerry to search for migrating passerines. The day started off on a high with a calling yellow-browed warbler, which unfortunately I couldn't get any footage of. However, I did manage some audio. It was fairly quiet for a while afterwards, apart from a spotted flycatcher and a willow warbler. Suddenly, I noticed 8 white shapes in the distance. These turned out to be a flock of cattle egrets. Eventually, they all landed, and I relocated them in a field nearby. This was my first time seeing this species in Ireland, as they are quite a rare visitor to Kerry, with only a few turning up here each year. To my surprise, this is the largest flock of cattle egret ever recorded in County Kerry. From the 13th of October onwards, there were reports of a semi-palmated sandpiper at Black Rock Strand. So on the 15th, I headed over to see if I could find it. I did end up seeing that semi-palmated sandpiper, but before I show you that, I wanted to show you another bird that I saw on the same day, which luckily for me, another birder picked out, which was this adult drake long-tailed duck. These are a scarce visitor to Kerry in winter, so I was delighted to see it, especially in such nice plumage. Now moving back to that semi-palmated sandpiper, it was relatively easy to pick out of the flock of shorebirds, just because of its size alone. These are another rare shorebird from North America. This was another lifer, and I was really happy to see it, so much so that I ended up coming back a few days later for some better footage. On the 22nd of October, I went to Loch Eganavan to hopefully see a rare North American species, the ring-necked duck. All of the ducks were tricky to identify due to the harsh light. However, eventually, I picked out some ring-necked ducks. I originally only reported 1 male and 3 females, but as you can see in this shot, there are actually 2 males and 3 females. These are a rare visitor to Ireland from North America. However, small numbers of this species overwinter at this site each year. There was also a pochard present, a nice surprise, as these are becoming increasingly scarce in County Kerry. To end off the autumn, I went to Black Rock Strand on the 29th of October, where amongst the more common light-bellied Brent geese, I saw 2 dark-bellied Brent geese, a rare subspecies that usually winters in northern France, the Netherlands, and the UK. And there was still 1 curlew sandpiper that was also present. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.